I am Shashank Prabhu, Program Director for CAT at IMS. In this video, we are going to look at the detailed solutions of the DILR for Slot 2 at CAT 2023. Now, those of you who want to try these sets before coming to the overall analysis, you can skip ahead and go to the particular set, try it out on your own, and then have a look at the solution that will follow. For those of you who want to get an overview of what the entire section was like, I'll just cover a brief intro about the section over the next couple of minutes. Now, the section had 4 questions or 4 sets broadly that were there, and all of them can be classified as moderate to difficult if I were to put it that way. The easiest set of the 4 that were there was the random draw competition that was there, wherein people had to just pick a ball and they had to get some score and they were ranked on the basis of those scores and so on. So that was possibly the easiest set because it was a standard set wherein you just had to fill the numbers that were there, and once you filled those numbers you would have been able to get the missing blanks. We also knew that there were certain points wherein there would have been multiple cases that were possible, and it was very easy to deal with those cases considering the questions that were given to us. The second easiest set, so to say, would have been the one that involved a lot of funding exercises that would have been conducted over the last many years. So there were some firms that were there. So there were 5 firms that were given to us, and each firm had a beginning year and an end year, and there was 1 crore that was funded or that was raised in year 1. There was 1 crore that was raised in the last year, and in between the funds increased and decreased in some way. Now that was to me the second easiest set, purely because the remaining 2 sets required a lot of artwork in the form of drawing tables, charts, writing down a lot of numbers and so on. So for this set there was not a lot of effort required as such, just that for 2 or 3 questions you had to ensure that you had all the cases that were covered. There was one very nice trap in a particular question that you had to be aware of, and only if you were very vigilant throughout the entire section would have been able to crack this particular set. The third best set or the third easiest set would be the entertainment rides one, wherein there were 3 people who visited an entertainment park and there were 3 rides, or there were 4 rides that were active, and some people took 4 rides, some people took 3 rides and so on. It was a very nice set, very interesting set. In fact, it was possibly a very easy set if you would pay attention to one line, as I would have explained in the solution. So just have a look at that set. It basically defines what CAT DILR is all about. And if you are not careful for even those 10 seconds when you are reading that particular line, it might mess up your entire section. So it was sort of a case study in that particular context, that you had to be very careful, very vigilant, and you had to be very literal when you are reading a particular set. The last set, which I found to be the most difficult one, was the one that was based on sacks and boxes. So it was a 3x3 grid that was there. It was not a difficult set per se, you could have managed it, but there were so many things going on. You had to figure out that the averages had to be multiples, or the averages had to be multiples of 3 rather, or the totals had to be multiples of 3, and then you would have been able to make some headway into the set. But then again, there was a lot of data to be covered. There were 3 numbers that needed to be written. There was a median that was given to you. The conditions that were given were fairly confusing. So that's why that was the most difficult set of the entire section. Now, if you look at the entire solutions video now, you will feel that it was on the easier side or the moderate-ish side. But I'm sure that people who took it in that actual slot would have faced a lot of difficulty when it came to solving these questions real time. So don't look at it as an exercise wherein if I'm explaining something, it comes across as easy. Solving this entire bit, which is maybe 1.5-ish hours long, in 40 minutes, when you are seeing the set for the first time, was the key to cracking this particular section. So as a good candidate, I would have been very happy if I were able to crack 2 sets out of 4 completely, and maybe attempt a few t-tasks here and there, which would have built my attempts. Might not have built my score, but might have built my attempts. So that is basically my outlook towards the entire section. 2 sets, brilliant. 1 set, definitely on. And less than that, I think you will have to put in some effort to get better in terms of this section. I hope you enjoy all the solutions that will follow. Make sure that you go through each and every step that I have explained in great detail. And if you have anything that you are not sure about, or if you need more clarification, do post in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to answer to your queries and to help you in case you are missing out on some information on any of these sets. Happy learning. In this question, we have Oddsville, and it has 5 firms. The names are gibberish, so we can just go with A, B, C, D and E. We know that each of these firms was founded in some year and was closed down a few years later. We know the first year of existence for all the firms. We know the last year of existence for some of these firms. We know the total amount raised for 4 out of the 5 firms. We also know that each firm raised 1 crore in its first and last year of existence. We know that the amount each firm raised every year increased till it reached a maximum, and then it decreased till the time the firm closed down. So we know that if a firm has raised 1 crore in the first year, it would have raised a higher amount in the second year, maybe a higher amount in the third year, maybe a higher amount in the fourth year. After that, maybe it started falling down, but once it starts falling down, it will not go up again. So we know that it will progress in a linear manner till a point in time wherein it hits the peak, and then it will fall down. So that is basically what it says. We also know that no firm raised the same amount of money in 2 consecutive years. So if a firm would have raised, let's say, 3 crores in 1 year, it would not have raised 3 crores in the preceding year or the following year. So that is what we know. We also know that each annual increase and decrease was either by 1 crore rupees or 2 crore rupees. So that is what we know in this particular context. There is a table, as I mentioned. It talks about the 5 firms. First year of existence is known for everyone. Last year for 3 firms. So we know the duration for which these 3 firms were active. We also know the total amount raised in terms of crore rupees. Now, if you look at the questions that we have, the questions are for which firm or firms can the amounts raised by them be concluded with certainty every year. And this should give you some clue, because the options here are only C, only D, only C and D, only B, C and D. So I know for sure that A and E are definitely not going to give me conclusive series in terms of the fundings that they would have received. So that is what I know for sure. I need to attack B, C and D first, so that I come up with an answer to this question at least, and then maybe the other questions will follow. What best can be concluded about the total amount of money raised in 2015? And again, the options are, one option is exactly 8 crores, but the others are either 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 8, 9 and so on, right? So we know for sure that there is some angle of 8 crores involved here, but there could be a possibility that there are variable answers here to this question. Similarly, what is the largest possible total amount of money? Again, a possibility based question. If E raised 3 crores, so I know that the thing that I was mentioning about earlier, A and E will have multiple possibilities that will exist, and E raised 3 crores in 2013. There is a possibility that E would have raised 3 crores in 2013. Then what is a possibility that, or what is the smallest possible number, and so on. So again, it's a possibility based question. The last bit, if we look at, if the total amount of money was 12 crores, again, it's an if based question, so possibility based question. Now, all these things will tell us that this is a question which will be slightly heavy in terms of possibilities that exist. You will have to do a lot of trial and error to come up with a table which will tell you all the possibilities that exist. And on the basis of that, you will most probably be able to figure out the last year of existence for most of the companies. There will be 2 or 3 cases involved for A and E, and then on the basis of that, you will be able to answer these questions, right? So that is basically the thought process that I have in my mind when I see this question for the first time, and that is basically what I'm sure people would have faced when they saw it in the actual test. Now let's look at the solution. Let's try to solve this, and let's try to figure out how can we reach that particular table that I was talking about, wherein A and E will have multiple possibilities, and B, C, D, at least 2 of them or 1 of them will be completely available to us. So let's see what happens here. So now let's look at the data point wherein we have the smallest possible amount that we have. So 9 is what we have in terms of C. So as I said earlier, we will look at B, C and D earlier, because I have 2 inputs available in C, one in terms of rupees and one in terms of the first year of existence. We can start with C and see how it goes. So in this context, we know that the firm will start by raising 1 crore in its first year. The firm will end by raising 1 crore in its last year of existence. So I know for sure that it will be 1 dash 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 whatever 1. So that is what we know. And then we will try to figure out as to what exactly will be present in all these dashes. So to make our life slightly easier, I have put it in this form. Wherever the dashes are available, I have put it as multiple dashes. Wherever the dashes are not available, I just put it as one big dash. So in case of C, it's one big dash between the 2 ones that we have. So let's see how can we fill this particular dash. I know for sure that the firm will start raising money, and it will start losing, or it will start raising less money as it progresses. So it will go up, hit a peak, and then it will come down. So that is basically what is happening. So let's say, for example, we are looking at this 9 and we are saying that 1 is the beginning, 1 is the end. We have to raise 7 more crores in the middle. How do we do that? So let's say we go from 1 to 2. So the firm has to go from 1 to some higher number in the second year. It cannot stay at 1. If the firm goes from 1 to 2, then we know that in the third year it will have to raise more money, because if it does not raise more money, it goes from 1 to 2 and back to 1, the firm would have raised only 4 crores. So it has to go to a higher number. So from 1 to 2 it will go to a 3, let's say. Now it has already earned 6 crores and 1 crore at the end is going to happen. So I know that one more year of 2 crores funding is required to accommodate these 9 crores in this duration that we have. Right? So one way in which we can go to 9 crores by starting with 1 and ending with 1 is having this nice palindrome. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So this is one way of doing it. Let's say for example that the firm went from 1 crores to 3 crores in the second year. Then what will happen? If it goes from 1 crores to 3 crores, it also has to end on 1. We have already accounted for 4 crores out of 9 crores. We have to account for 5 more crores. Now how do we do that? 5 can be split as either 4, 1 or 3, 2. Now if I go for 4, 1, then 1, 3, 4, 1, 1 or 1, 3, 4, 1 could be a possibility. Right? Now if I go for 1, 3, 4, 1, that could be a possibility, but then the problem is 4 to 1 is a drop by 3 crores, which is not permissible according to the question. So the question tells us that it has to fall by either 1 crore or 2 crores. It also has to rise by either 1 crore or 2 crores. So this 4, 1 drop is not possible. Similarly, if I go for 3, 2, so 1, 3, 3, 2, let's say, that will give us 1 crore, but then it will not end in a 1. So that is another problem. Right? So to end this in 1 and to make sure that everything is progressing as per the data given, we have only one case that exists, which is 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So here I am going to have 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. That is the only case that exists in terms of C. I also know that because C has been functional for 5 years, it would have gone from 2013, 14, 15, 16 and 17. So firm C would have stopped operations in 2017. Right? And the split is 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So I know for sure that the answer to that question will have at least C in it. Let's look at D now. I know that it was in existence for 5 years, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I know that it had accumulated 10 crores. So that is what we know in terms of D. Start with 1, ends with 1. We'll just need to find out how to accumulate those remaining 8 in these 3 blanks. So how will we do that? We know that if it starts with a 1, it can go till 2 or 3 in the first year. And then if it ends at 1, it has to go to at least 2 in the last year or in the year before the last year, right? So 1, 2 dash to 1 is the most conservative estimate that we have. Now that tells us that 1 plus 2, 3 and 2 plus 1, 3 are accounted for. The middle number has to be a 4. So there is one possibility that exists, which is 1 to 4 to 1, wherein we are not violating any of the conditions that have been given to us. What if the firm would have started with 3? It increased its funding to 3. So 1, 3 dash, at least a 2 and a 1. What are we going to get? 1 plus 3, which will be 4, and 2 plus 1, that will be a 3. 4 plus 3, 7. We have to have a 3 here, which is not going to be possible. Right? We cannot have a 3 here because 1, 3, 3 will mean that 2 consecutive years have a 3 in them, and that is not going to be possible. Right? So 1, 3 dash 2, 1 will not work. 1, 3 dash 3, 1 will definitely not work because it will have to rise even further, and that will take it beyond 10. So the only possibility that exists for D will be 1, 2, 4, 2, 1. So that is the only thing that is possible here. Right? So these two are definitely the ones wherein we have exactly one way of representing the numbers that were supposed to be represented. Now let's look at B, because that was the one thing that would have led us to a good answer for the first question. So let's see what happens here. So 2012 to 2015, it starts with a 1, it ends with a 1. Right? It should more or less be obvious that these two numbers could be interchangeable. So let's say for example the firm goes from 1 to 2, it has to increase, let's say, in the next year, because it can't fall down to 1 because there is one more year that is present before it hits that 1. So it has to go to 3, it can go to 1. That is a possibility. Or the firm can go to 3 and then can go to 2 and 1. So that is again a possibility. So there are two possibilities that exist, either 1, 2, 3, 1 or 1, 3, 2, 1. So there are these two possibilities that are there. We can also see in this particular context that if I am going from 1, 2, 3 and then 1, or 1, 3, 2 and 1, wherever you are hitting the highest note or wherever you are getting the highest revenue or the highest funding, whatever is adjacent to that can be represented either this way or that way, especially if they are not symmetrical. Now again, that might be a difficult statement to digest. I am just saying that if 1, 2, 3, 1 is possible, then 1, 3, 2, 1 is also possible, or in other words, 2 and 3 can be interchanged. You might be able to see it in some other context. So let's look at A now. In terms of A, I know that the firm starts with 1, ends with 1 and has raised 21 crores throughout these many years of existence. So 8 years of existence in total. I have to fill 6 blanks. So I have 6 blanks and I have to put 19 in these 6 blanks. So that is what we have here, right? And that is basically what we'll try to do in this particular context. We'll try to see if we can accumulate these 9 or we can accumulate these 6 blanks and split this 19 into 6 blanks. So let's see. So in this particular context, again, it has to rise. So it can go from 1 to 2, right? It has to go from 1 to 2. It can't stay at 1 and accumulate 19 or 21 rather. So 1 till 2 it will go. It can't start falling from 2. It will have to go a bit further. It can go to 3. So 1, 2, 3. Again, it can't start falling from 3. It will have to go to a 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I've accounted for 10. Now if it starts falling after 4, I will have 3 to 1 and it will stop at 16. So it can't stop at 4. It has to go to a 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I have reached 15. I need to accumulate another 6. So how can I do that? I'll have to start falling from 5. I can't go to a 6 directly, right? So I'll start falling from 5 and I will have to ensure that I've already used the 4 blanks. I have 2 more blanks before I reach 1. So I'll have to drop to 3, then 2 and then 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 2, 1. That is a possibility that exists for A. So I'll just write it down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 2, 1, right? As we saw in the previous case, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 3, 2, 1 were both possible. Even here, if you look at the highest possible number, that is 5, you can see that it can either be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 2, 1, or it can be 1, 2, 3, 5 and then 4, 3, 2, 1. Even that is possible. You can look at it in another way as well. If it can go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 2, 1, backwards also it will follow the same path. So the other case will be the mirror image of this. 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? So both the mirror images are possible in this particular case. So we have 2 options to represent the flow of funds for A. Let's look at E now. For E, I know that 13 needs to be accumulated. I don't know how many years do we have. So let's say, for example, from 1, the firm reaches 2, as we saw earlier. So from 1, if the firm reaches 2, it can't come back to 1. So it has to rise even further. So 1, 2, 3, let's say. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6. It has to accumulate another 7. So it can't start falling from 3. So it will have to go to 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We have already accounted for 10. I know it is going to end in a 1. So I need to put the remaining 2 here. So one possibility that exists is 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 1. But as I said earlier, the mirror image of this is also something that we are interested in. So we will also have 1, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1, the mirror image of this. So 1, then 2, 4, then 3, 2. So even that is possible. So there are 2 possibilities that exist here. But that was under the assumption that we are going from 1 to 2. What if we are going from 1 to 3? So let's say I go from 1 to 3 in the second here. Then what will happen? If I start falling down from 3 now, I will be able to reach 1 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, that is only 7 crores. I will not be able to reach 13. Let's say I go to a 4 crore. Then what will happen? So 1, 3, then 4. I have already accounted for 8 crores. I know this is going to end in a 1. So 9 have already been accounted for. I need to have another 4. Now the beauty of 4 is, how can I split this 4? I will have to go for 3, 1, but then it will become 3, 1, 1, right? So that is not possible. What about 2, 2? Not possible, because consecutive years cannot have the same amount of funding. That's why 1, 3, 4-1 will not take us anywhere. That is not going to be a case for sure. Let's see what will happen if I go from 1 to 3 to 5. So I'm going from 1 to 3, 4, 4 plus 5, 9. So I've already accounted for 9 here. I have to end in a 1, so 10. I'm left with only a 3, which we can put it like this. So 1, 3, 5, 3, 1 is also a possibility, right? So I started with 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 4. So those were the 4 possibilities that we had, out of which 1, 3, 4 does not work. The remaining 3 will work for sure. And that is one way in which we can figure this out. So now that we have this data in front of us, we know for sure that we can represent only C and D in exactly one way. The others have multiple possibilities that exist. So if I just consolidate it, it will look something like this. I know that 1, 2, 3 to 1 is C, 1, 2, 4 to 1 is D. E is either spread over 5 years or 6 years, and A we know for sure is spread over 8 years, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 to 1 or 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So these two possibilities exist. Now we'll use these data points and we'll try to solve the questions that we have. So for which firm can the amounts raised by them be concluded with certainty in each year? We saw already that only for C and D were we able to figure out what the exact split will be in each year. So the correct answer here is option 2, only C and D. In this question, you have to figure out what best can be concluded about the total amount of money raised in 2015. Now, if you look at the table that we have here, we know the amount of years for which these firms have been in existence. We can figure out what happened in the year 2015. So let's say, for example, we are talking about firm A. We know for sure that the firm A was in existence till 2016. We know for sure that 2015 would have been the penultimate year before the firm closed operations. So I know that either of these cases will give me 2 crores in terms of the contribution of firm A to the total amount of money raised in 2015. What about firm B? Firm B, I know for sure that 2015 was the year it got closed. That's why 1 crore will be the fund that will be raised by firm B. Firm C, if you look at it, 13, 14, 15, the third year of existence would have contributed 3 crores. In this case, 11 till 15. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, the fifth year, last year again would have contributed 1 crore. So till here we do not have any ambiguity as such. The last one, if you look at it, 10 is when E started operations. So E started operations. I know that in this case, the firm was in existence for 5 years, but in these cases, the firm would have been in existence for 6 years. And that is basically where there is a good chance that people might have made a mistake here, because 2010 and 5 years. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, there is a chance that this firm would not have been in existence in 2015 at all, in which case it would have contributed 0 crores to the entire funds being raised. But if the firm E would have been operational for 6 years, then it would have been in operations till 2015, which meant that in its last year it would have contributed 1 crore. So in other words, the total funding could be either 2 plus 1 plus 3 plus 1, that is 7 crores, plus 0, that is 7 crores, or 7 plus 1, that is 8 crores. So the amount of money raised in 2015 could either be 7 crores or 8 crores, which gives us option 3 as our answer. In this question, we have to find out the largest possible total amount of money that could have been raised in 2013. So again, let's look at the table that we have and let's see what happens. So in this case, I know that 2009 was the first year of operations for firm A. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, fifth year we have to maximize, right? Because we want to find the largest possible total amount of money. And all these firms are independent of each other. So we have to maximize each firm and we will be fine. So 2013 was the fifth year of existence for firm A. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 crores, and 5 is the largest number here. So we know for sure that A would have contributed 5 crores at max. What about B? In 2013, it would have been the second year of existence. So the maximum amount that maximum fund that would have been raised by firm B in 2013 should have been 3 crores. So 5 plus 3 for firm B. Firm C started in 2013. It cannot do anything. It has to raise 1 crore. Firm D in 2013 would have been the third year of existence. So it would have raised 4 crores. And firm E, so 2013, so 10, 11, 12, 13. So fourth year of existence, it's either 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, again 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 crores. So 4 is the best number that we can find here. So in total, the maximum amount of money that these 5 firms would have raised together in the year 2013 will be 5 plus 3, that is 8, plus 1, 9, plus 4, 13, plus 4, 17 crores. So the correct answer here is going to be 17. In this question, if firm E raised 3 crores in 2013, then what is the smallest possible total amount of money that could have been raised by all companies in 2012? So again, we can have a look at the table that we have here. We know that E raised 3 crores in 2013. So in the fourth year of existence, 10, 11, 12, 13, fourth year of existence, E would have raised 3 crores. So in this case, this is a possible case because fourth year we have 3 crores. 1, 2, 4, 3, again this is a possible case. 1, 2, 3, 4, this is definitely not possible. So we know that these two cases are possible. We need to find the smallest possible total amount of money that could have been raised in 2012. Again, let's look at the numbers that we have. So 2012 would mean the fourth year of existence of A. So 9, 10, 11, 12. So let's look at the smallest number that we can find in the fourth place. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 5. So the smaller number is of course 4. So A would have contributed 4 crores in 2012. What about B? It was its first year of existence, has to contribute 1 crore. For C, it was not in existence at all in 2012, so would not have contributed anything. Firm D, second year of existence in 2012, so it would have contributed 2 crores. And firm E, again we have to minimize. So fourth year of existence would have contributed 3 crores or 3 crores. It has been in 2013 it would have been 3 crores. So in the year 2012 it would have been either 5 or 4. So we have to find we have to take the minimum of these two numbers. So we'll go for a 4 here. So 4 plus 1 5 plus 2 7 plus 4 11. The correct answer here is going to be option 3, that is 11 crores. Now in this question, if the total amount of money raised in 2014 is 12 crores, then which of the following is not possible? Now this is a slightly complicated question because we'll have to look at a lot of things and then we'll have to figure out what the answer is. But let's see what happened in 2014. So in case of the first firm, 2014 was the third from the last year. So if you look at it, 3 to 1 and 3 to 1, firm A would have contributed 3 crores irrespective of whatever happened in the year 2013 or 2014 rather. Right? What about B? It was again the penultimate year of operations, so it would have either contributed 2 crores or 3 crores. What about firm C? In 2012, it was, or 2014 rather, it was the second year of existence, so it would have contributed 2 crores. This one, penultimate year of existence, so would have contributed 2 crores. What about this one? In 2014, so 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, the fifth year of existence. So it would have contributed either 1 crore or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 crores. So either 1 crore or 2 crores. Now what happens if you add everything? So 3 plus 2 plus 2, we already have 7 here. We have to raise 12 crores, which will mean that this firm has to contribute 3 crores, this firm has to contribute 2 crores, otherwise 12 crores is not going to happen. What does that tell us? In the year 2014, B would have contributed 3 crores, which will basically mean that the penultimate number is 3, so this will not work at all. And in this case, we know that it would have contributed 2 crores, which would mean that this would not work at all. So the remaining cases are all live, and now we can figure out what each statement is trying to tell us. So in this case, we are talking about the year 2013. A raised the same amount of money as D. So A in 2013, because both these cases are live now, we will know that A would have raised 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, fifth year of fundraising. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 1, 2, 3, 5, 4. So A would have raised either 4 crores or 5 crores in 2013. What about D? So D in 2013 would have raised 4 crores. So is it a possibility? Yes. A could have raised 4 crores and D could have raised 4 crores. So A is indeed possible. I need to figure out which one is not possible at all. I'm not saying it has to be possible for sure. I'm just saying it should not be possible at all. Right? So in this case, what about the second statement? B raised the same amount of money as E in 2013. So in case of B, we know that B raised 2 crores in the year 2013, second year of existence. So B raised 2 crores in the year 2013. What about E? 10, 11, 12, 13, fourth year of existence. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is 3 crores, 1, 2, 3, 4 is 4 crores. So E would have raised either 3 crores or 4 crores. Is it possible for B and E to raise the same amount of money? Absolutely not. Because B has raised 2 crores and E has raised either 3 or 4 crores. So definitely not 2. And that's why we know for sure that 2 is the statement that is definitely not possible. Let's check the other two statements as well just to be certain about our answer. A raised the same amount of money as B in 2014. So in 2014, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, sixth year of existence for A. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which will be 3, or 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 3, which will again be 3. So we know that A would have raised 3 crores. What about B in 2014? It would have been the penultimate year of existence. So it will again be 3 because 1, 2, 3, 1, penultimate year is 3. And so we know for sure that this is again a true statement. Both of them have earned 3 crores or have got 3 crores as funding. Similarly, if you look at the fourth statement, B raised more money than E in 2014. So what would B have done in 2014? B would have earned 3 crores in the year 2014 as we have already seen. In terms of E, what happened in 2014? So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, fifth year of existence. So I know that 1, 2, 4, 3, 2. So it would have been either 2 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. Again, it would have been 2. So we know that B is equal to 3, E is equal to 2. Is 3 greater than 2? Yes. So statement 4 is also correct. So which is the one that is definitely not possible? Option 2 is not possible, and that's why that is our correct answer. Now this was a very nice set which was based on more or less the Sudoku logic, wherein we had to figure out which block is where the rows column logic was there. Might not exactly be Sudoku logic, but something similar to that. This set was also similar to one of the sets that appeared in CAT 2019, wherein there was a 3 by 3 grid and there were 3 things that were present, 3 boxes that were present in each grid or each square of their grid, which had certain number of coins. And in that case, we were given the maximum and the minimum value of the coins that were there. But in this case, we are given the median or the middle value of the coins that are there for some cases. So that is what made this set slightly different. But otherwise, it was a fine set to manage. So let's look at this one. There are 9 boxes arranged in a 3 by 3 array, as has been shown in tables 1 and 2. Each box contains 3 sacks. So that is what is there. Each sack has a certain number of coins between 1 and 9, both inclusive. The average number of coins per sack in the boxes are all distinct integers, right? So average number of coins per sack, which basically means that if we are talking about one box, then the total number of coins divided by the number of sacks will be an integer, which means that because there are 3 sacks, each box contains 3 sacks, we know that the total of all the coins inside the sacks in one particular box has to be a multiple of 3. So that is what we know. The total number of coins in each row is the same. The total number of coins in each column is also the same. And the average number of coins per sack in the boxes are all distinct integers. Very, very, very important, right? We know that each sack has a certain number of coins between 1 and 9. I know for sure that there will be some box which will have 1, 1, 1. There will be some box that will have a 9, 9, 9. The average can oscillate between 1 and 9. And they are all distinct averages, meaning that one box will have average 1, one box will have average 2, one box will have average 3, and so on till the time there is one box which has an average of 9, which means that all 3 coins will be, or all 3 sacks will have 9 coins each. So that is basically what is being told to us. Table 1 gives some information regarding the median of the number of coins. So this year, of course, CAT was very heavy in terms of focusing a lot on median, mean, mode, right? So basic statistical data that we should ideally know. So measures of central tendency, as we call it. So median is what has been given to us for some of the boxes. So I know that second column, first row, the box has 9 as the median value. Now that tells us a very interesting insight as well, but more on that later. Third column, first row, the middle number is 6. So median essentially means the middle number if you arrange something in an ascending order or descending order, doesn't matter, right? Now in this particular case, table 2, each box has a number which represents the number of sacks in that box having more than 5 coins, which means if I'm talking about second row, third column, so this one, then I am saying that there are 3 sacks or all 3 sacks exist such that they have more than 5 coins in them. And again, that is something that will give us a very nice insight when we start with the set, but more on that later. That number is followed by an asterisk, a star, if the sacks in that box satisfy exactly one among the following 3 conditions. And it is followed by 2 stars, 2 asterisks, if 2 or more of these conditions are satisfied. Now what are these conditions? The minimum among the numbers of coins in the 3 sacks in the box is 1, which means if there are 3 sacks, the minimum number of coins will become 1. So statement 1, one condition, condition number 1 will mean that the coins are in such a manner that it is in the form of dash dash 1. Second condition tells us that the median of the numbers of coins in the 3 sacks is 1. Now if the median is 1, what can we say about the lower value? There cannot be 0 coins in any of the sacks because each sack has a certain number of coins which is between 1 and 9, both inclusive. So this means that if this is present, automatically I know that the minimum will also be 1. The maximum can be more than that, but the minimum will definitely be 1. So that is what I know. That gives us one very important insight. If condition 2 is true, if the median of the numbers of the coins in the 3 sacks is 1, if condition 2 is true, condition 1 automatically becomes true. So wherever we have 2 stars, we can say that more or less conditions 2 and 1 might be simultaneously true. And again, that will give us some insights going forward. Also, the maximum among the number of coins in the 3 sacks of a box is 9. So I know that if condition 3 is the only one that is true, then the boxes or the sacks will be in the form of 9 dash dash, something less than 9. If all 3 conditions are true, it will mean that the configuration is 9 1 1. But the problem is, we know that the number of coins, average number of coins per sack in the boxes are all distinct integers, which means they have to be multiples of 3, as I mentioned earlier. The lowest possible value is 3, then 6, then 9, then 12 for the total. So there is no way that you can have a 9 1 1 because then the total will be 11, which will not be a multiple of 3, which will not give us an integer when it comes to the average of the coins inside the sacks, right? So that is basically what is known to us. We know that if two statements are true, that will be the interpretation. If exactly one statement is true, these will be the interpretations. And if two statements are true, then you have to figure out which ones are true. Because then if you say statement 2 is true, automatically statement 1 becomes true. Statements 1, 2, 3 cannot be simultaneously true. Now that is one thing that you will have to keep in mind going forward. Now if you look at the questions that were there, what is the total number of coins in all the boxes in the third row? A very straightforward question with one unique answer. Brilliant. How many boxes have at least one sack containing 9 coins? Again, we know that there is going to be one certain answer to this question. For how many boxes are the average and median the same? Again, you know one specific answer you are going to get. It's not at least 3 boxes, definitely more than 3 boxes, and so on. We know that there is exactly one number which will answer our question. How many sacks have exactly 1 coin? Again, a unique answer. How many boxes do all 3 sacks contain different number of coins? Again, a unique answer. I know for sure that I will get one nice case at the end which will cover all the given conditions and which will help us answer all the equations. So there are no multiple cases that are going to be present here. So let's look at the data that we have here and let's try to represent it in a slightly more palatable format. So in this case, the first thing that we need to realize is that we know for sure that the total number of coins in the boxes will range from 3 till 27. And there will be distinct multiples of 3 that will be there, right? So we have already seen this, that all distinct integers exist in terms of the averages. So the average can either be, you can say for 3 coins, the average can be 1, average can be 2, 3, 4 and till 9. So that could be the average. Why am I saying that? Because the maximum number of coins that can be present in one box can be 9 plus 9 plus 9. Beyond that you can't go because the highest number of coins in a sack is 9. The lowest number of coins in one sack is 1. So minimum what will happen? 1, 1, 1, 3, maximum 9, 9, 9, 27. And I have all possible multiples from 3 till 27 that are of 3 of course. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24 and 27, right? So these are the 9 multiples of 3 that are present from 3 to 27. These 9 will be the sums that are present in all these boxes that are there. We know that each row has the same sum, each column has the same sum. What is the sum total of all these numbers that I have mentioned here? Now you can either apply arithmetic progression, you can say first term plus last term divided by 2 into number of terms. You can pick the middle term and multiply it by the number of terms, anything is fine. So let's say we are going for the middle term 15 multiplied by the number of terms, that is 9. So you'll have 15 9s are 135. That will be the sum total of all the coins that will be present in these 9 boxes. Each row has the same number of coins. So 135 divided by 3, because there are 3 rows, I know that each row will have 45 coins. Each column has an equal number of coins. I know that each column will have 45 coins. So again, that is one starting point that we have. You can just keep this in mind. So as and when I'm able to figure out 2 totals, the third total will be known to us. Right? So let's start with the first clue that we have. Of course, I know that there is one box wherein 999 will be present. There is one box where 111 will be present. My first idea is to figure out which these 2 boxes are. And obviously, I know that if there are 3 9s present in a particular box, there should be 3 numbers or there should be 3 sacks that should have more than 5 coins. You cannot have 2 sacks having more than 5 coins, the third sack having 5 or less than 5 coins and then having 999. That is not possible. So I need to find some block wherein we know that there are all 3 sacks that have more than 5 coins. So I know for sure that this could be one of the sacks or this could be a sack. Right? So either this one has a 999 or this one has a 999. Otherwise, you will not be able to make 27. Right? Now, if this one has a 999, then there is a problem. And why is there a problem? Because we know that the median is 8. If the median is 8, it means that the denomination of the number of coins in one of the sacks is 8 for sure. And that is the middle value as well. Now, if 8 is the number of coins in one of these sacks, I cannot have 999 in 3 sacks. Now, that tells us one very obvious fact of life, that this has to be the box which has the 999 configuration. And that helps us with one part of the puzzle, right? So I've already figured out which box is the one that has a 999, right? Now this part is taken care of. Now what next? What is the next part that we can be confident about? Now let's look at some place wherein we have 3 stars. Now because I already accounted for 27 here, let's look at this row and see what happens with this 2. Now you can move in various directions. Of course, there is no dependency as such from one point to the other. But let's look at the second row. first column, the box that we have here. Now I know here that there is a median of 2 that is present. Now if the median is 2, I know there is one value that is less than 2, one value that is greater than 2. I also know that there are 2 stars that are present and there is one value which is greater than 5 as well. So I know for sure that this number is 5 plus, is greater than 5 for sure. That is what I know, right? I also know that there are 2 stars that are present. When did we say that there will be 2 stars that will be present? We figured out that the minimum among the number of coins, or the coins that are there, if the first condition is true, it will be a dash dash 1 kind of a scenario. If the second condition is true, then it will be a dash 1 1 kind of a scenario. And if the third condition is true, it will be a 9 dash dash kind of a scenario. Now exactly 2 statements have to be true. We know that all 3 statements cannot be simultaneously true, because then it will not give us a multiple of 3. So I know for sure that if 2 statements have to be simultaneously true, and if statement or if condition 2 is true, then condition 1 automatically becomes true. There are 2 ways to look at it. Either conditions 1 and 3 are true, or you can say conditions 1 and 2 are simultaneously true. We cannot have conditions 2 and 3 simultaneously true, because then it will mean that condition 1 is also true, which will mean that we have a 9-1-1 configuration, which doesn't work, right? So either 1 and 3 are true or 1 and 2 are true. So these are the only 2 possibilities that exist. Let's say 1 and 3 are true in this particular context. Then what will happen? I will have 9, 2 and 1. Now 9 plus 2 plus 1 gives us a nice number 12, which is a multiple of 3, which is not 27 obviously, and that will help us crack the question. Let's say, for example, I am assuming that statements 1 and 2 are true. Instead of this, I am saying that 1 and 2 will be true. Then what will happen? I will have a dash 1 1 or a 2 1 1 kind of a construct, which does not work because the median is 2. I need to have something which is greater than 2, which is greater than 5 as well, in fact. So the only case possible here is 9 2 1, which will be true in case of the first column and second row. So 9 to 1 is what helps in this particular context. Now we also know that the sum of the numbers in a particular row is 45. So in this context, I know that this is 27, I know that this is 12, 27 plus 12 is 39. So the sum of these 3 numbers has to be equal to 6. So that is another thing that we will be able to figure out, right? Now this is what we get in this particular context. Then what can we do? The next bit that we can do in this particular context is you can have a look at the next number that we have. So if you look at the bottommost position here, right? So the bottom right corner, if you look at it, it's 0 star star. Again, whenever you have a star star, there are 2 possibilities that exist, as I discussed earlier. Either statements 1 and 3 are true simultaneously, or statements 1 and 2 are true simultaneously. Now if statements 1 and 3 are true simultaneously, what will happen? I will have a configuration in the form of 9 dash 1, because 9 has to be the maximum and 1 has to be the minimum. And if it is in the configuration of 1 and 2, I will have dash 1 1, which will be present. Now if there are 2 stars and 1 and 3 are the statements that are true, conditions that are true, then 9 dash 1 has to happen, which will mean that I will have at least one number which is greater than 5. But in this box, there is no number that is greater than 5. And that is why I know that this condition does not exist. It has to be dash 1 1, as has been represented here, right? So that is what we will know in this particular context. What else can we figure out? So I'll just keep it dash 1 1 for the time being, and then we will see what happens. Now dash 1 1 has a very important repercussion here. Now if I have dash 1 1 and it has to be a multiple of 3, the third blank has to be either 1 or 4 or 7. Right? The third blank can't be 7 because there is no number in this box which will be greater than 5. So it can either be 1 or 4. But if this blank is equal to 4, then the problem that arises is the sum becomes 6, which is the same as this sum. But that is not possible, because the sum in each box will be unique, because the average of each box is unique. And that is why the only case possible here is 111. So now we know that the bottom right box that we have will have a configuration of 1 1 1. Now we know that because this is 999 and this is 111, we have already accounted for 27 plus 3, that is 30. So 30 is what we have already accounted for. Now if you have already accounted for 30 and the sum of each column has to be 45, this box has to have sum equal to 15. It also has to have 6 as the middle number. It also has to have one number that is greater than 6. or one number that is greater than 5, one more number that is greater than 5 because 6 is already greater than 5. I also need one number to be less than 6. So all these conditions will come together. We also know that 1 star has to be true, which essentially means either the minimum number is 1 or the maximum is 9 or the median is 1. Now the median cannot be 1 for sure because the median has been told to us to be 6. So either the minimum value is 1 or the maximum value is 9. If I have maximum value as 9, 9, 6 and 0 will be the configuration of these sacks, but 0 is not possible because each sack will have at least one coin, which tells us that 9, 6 dash is not possible. It has to be something 6, 1. What 6, 1? It has to be 8, 6, 1 for the total to be equal to 15. And that is why we will get 8, 6, 1 as the configuration of the third column and the first row. That box we will have 1, 6, 8 as the configuration. Now the next bit that we can go to in this particular context is we can again look at the numbers where we have 2 stars. Now if you look at 2 stars, again that will be a revelation to you. So let's say for example we are looking at this box wherein we have 1 star star. What does that mean? It tells us that there is one box which is greater than 5 and there are 2 conditions that are satisfied. Now what are the 2 conditions that are satisfied? Again, as we looked at it, whenever someone tells you that 2 conditions are satisfied, either it will be in the form of -1 or 9-1. So these are the only 2 cases that are possible. I also know that there is exactly one box which is greater than 9. So that is also something that we know in this particular context, right? So this is one thing that will help us try and figure out as to what exactly should be the configuration of this box. So now if you look at what is happening in this particular context, if you look at the second column and the first row, right? So if you go to the second column and the first row, we knew that the median was 9. And we also knew that there were 2 boxes that were greater than 5 and 1 star was there. Now if 9 is the median and 9 basically means that 9 is the middle value, I know for sure that 9 has to be the middle value. 9 is also the maximum that is possible. So 9, 9 dash has to be the configuration of the second column first row box that we have here, right? So this again is something that we have kept in mind, but the second column first row box is 9, 9 dash that we have. Now again think about the context that exists here. If you have 9, 9 dash here, 9, 9, 9 is a possibility that has already been taken. So that is not going to happen. What is the next possibility that will give you a multiple of 3? 9, 9, 6 will give us a multiple of 3. But if the configuration is 9, 9, 6, the problem is all 3 boxes go above 5. But we know that there are exactly 2 boxes that are above 5. And that will tell us that the only configuration possible is 9, 9, 3. And that's why the second column first row will have 9, 9 and 3. Now that tells us that if this is 9, 9, 3, this is 1, 6 and 8. We have already accounted for 21 plus 15, that is 36 coins. That tells us that the sum of the first row first column is 9. Now we already knew some data points. We knew that 9-1 or -1 would have been the only 2 conditions that would have been possible, right? So those were the things that we knew for sure, and we'll be able to figure out very easily what happens in the first row. Because what we did earlier was, we knew that it was either 9-1 because 2 conditions are satisfied because there are 2 stars, or it will be -1-1. So either of these 2 are there. Now if it is 9-1 and the sum is 9, it is definitely not going to work because the sum becomes at least 10 here. So that is not going to work. So it has to be in this -1-1 format. And we know for sure that if it is in the form of -1-1, it has to be 7-1-1. So that is what we know in this particular context. We also know that if this is 7-1-1, the total becomes 9. The total of this is 12. 12 plus 9 is 21. The total of this becomes 24. You look at the median number, that is 8, right? If you see the median and if you look at it as 8, let's say, then what will happen in this particular context is we will need to make it 24. We also know that there is 1 star that exists here and all 3 numbers are above 5. If all 3 numbers are above 5 and one of these conditions has to be satisfied, I know that one number has to be 9 here. One number is 9, one number is 8, the third number automatically becomes 7 and we will get a 987 here. And that's why we will be able to see 711, 987 being the value of the coins in the sacks in first column first row and first column third row. So that is what we will have here. Now what else can we see? We can see that in the third row, 987, 24 has been accounted for and 111, that is 3, has been accounted for. So the only sum that remains here is 18. Now 18 is what remains. 2 stars are there, 2 numbers are above 5 for sure. So we know that out of the 9-1 and -11 configurations, this will not be possible because I need two numbers to be above 5 for sure, right? And the sum has to be 18. Now if 9 and 1 are the two numbers, then the third number automatically becomes 8, and so we get a 981 in this block. That is what cracks this set more or less. Sum equal to 6 is what we have here. No number above 5, which is obvious because if there is some number above 5, then sum equal to 6 will mean that something or the other is 0. So I know that everything is below 5 for sure. We also know that only one star is true. Now if only one star is true, what does it mean? In this case, minimum is 1, or median is 1, or maximum is 9. Now out of these three cases, which one can be true for the sum to be equal to 6? Can -11 work? If -11 works, then as discussed, 2 being true will mean that 1 is also automatically true. And that's why 2 cannot be true for sure. I know for sure that 9 cannot be the maximum value of the coins in any of the sacks because then the sum cannot be 6. It will be much more than 6. That means that -1 is the only case that will be valid. And I also know that these two numbers will not be ones for sure. So I'll have only one way of representing this, and that will basically be 3, 2, 1. And that is what cracks the set. Now we have all the data that we need to answer the questions. So let's go ahead and answer all the questions one at a time. In this question, we have to find the total number of coins in all the boxes in the third row. Now this question could have been answered even if you didn't solve the set at all. If you just figured out that we needed all multiples of 3 and you knew that the total came to 135 and each row and each column had the same value in terms of the total number of coins, you could have easily said that my answer is 45. So the correct answer here, even without solving the set, even without looking at the tallying or even without tallying the numbers that we have here, we can say for sure that the correct answer here is option 3, that is 45 coins in the third row. In this question, we have to find how many boxes have at least one sack containing 9 coins. So if you look at it, this one does not have any 9s. This one has 1 9 at least, 1 9, another 9, another 9, another 9. So there are exactly 5 boxes that have at least one sack containing 9 coins. So the correct answer here is option 4, that is 5 boxes. According to this question, for how many boxes are the average and the median the same number? So in this case, 7 1 1, the average becomes 3. The median is 1, so not right. 993, average is 7, median is 9, not correct. 168, average is 5, median is 6, not correct. 921, average is 12 by 3, that is 4, median is 2, not right. 321, average is 2, median is 2, correct. 999, average is 9, median is 9. 987, average is 8, median is 8. 981, average 6, median 8, not right. 111, average 1, median 1, correct. Another way to look at this is, if you find the middle number that you have and both the numbers are equidistant from that middle number, that is basically going to be your answer. So if 2 is the middle number, 1 is 1 less than 2 and 3 is 1 greater than 2, I know that they are symmetrically split, and that's why we know that the median will be the same as the mean. And for those cases wherein all 3 numbers are the same, the mean will be equal to the median, will also be equal to the mode. So in this case, we know that for 4 boxes, the average and the median of the number of coins contained in the 3 sacks of the box is the same. So the correct answer here is 4. Here we have to figure out how many sacks have exactly 1 coin. So it cannot be, or it will basically be 2 sacks from this box, 1 more sack from here, 1 sack from here, 1 sack from here, and 1 sack from here, 3 sacks from here. So in total, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there will be 9 sacks that will have exactly 1 coin. The correct answer here is 9. In this question, we have to figure out in how many boxes do all 3 sacks contain different number of coins. So in the first sack, we have 2 sacks that contain 1 coin each, so not right. 9, 9, so not right. 1, 6, 8, yes, this is what we are looking at. 9 to 1, all distinct. 3 to 1, all distinct. 999, not right. 987, all distinct. 981, all distinct. 111, not distinct numbers. So we have 5 boxes in total wherein all 3 sacks contain a different number of coins. So the correct answer here is 5. Now this was a beautifully worded set. So if you look at the set, Anjali, Bipasha and Chitra visited an entertainment park that has 4 rides. So there are 4 rides. Let's call them R1, R2, R3, R4 that are there. Each ride lasts 1 hour and can accommodate 1 visitor at one point. So that is the data that has been given to us. We know that all the rides begin at 9 AM and must be completed by 5 PM except for ride 3, which is for which the last ride has to be completed by 1 p.m. So 12 noon to 1 p.m. is the last ride that can be taken in terms of ride 3. Ride gates open every 30 minutes. So 10 o'clock the ride gate will open, 10:30 it will open, 11 o'clock it will open, and so on. Whenever the ride gate opens, if someone is standing outside and there is nobody inside the ride, then obviously this person will be able to enter the ride and can enjoy the ride for 1 hour. So that is basically the point of this. And then if, let's say for example, there is already someone who is inside that ride, then the person standing outside will not be able to get in and will have to wait, right? So there are chances that someone might have to wait for half an hour. That is what it says. The ticket prices are 20, 50, 30 and 40 rupees for rides 1, 2, 3, 4 respectively. That has been given to us. We know that each of the 3 visitors took at least one ride, so that is known to us, and did not necessarily take all the rides. So again, that is what is known. None of them took the same ride more than once. Everybody enjoyed a ride that they intended to exactly once. That's what we know. The movement time is negligible. Visitor leaves the ride immediately after the completion. Standard stuff. The most important line of this entire set is this one: no one takes a break inside the park unless mentioned explicitly, right? And we have a tendency to overthink things, and if someone would have missed this line, no one takes a break inside the park unless mentioned explicitly, if you missed this line during the test, there's a good chance you might not have understood what this set is trying to ask you, and you would have messed it up big time, right? So this is the beauty of the set. Honestly, this is one line which will make or break the set. In the entire pressure cooker scenario, after you have read 4 passages, solved so many VA questions, maybe solved 1 or 2 sets, and then you reach here and your entire 15 marks depends on your interpretation of this one line. I think it's really wonderful to look at this, right? Now the information that is given to us: Chitra never waited in the queue and so on, and completed her visit by 11 a.m. After spending 50 rupees to pay for the tickets, right? So we know that Chitra waited in the queue and completed her visit by 11 a.m. So that's what we know. We also know that Anjali took ride 1 at 11 a.m. after waiting for 30 minutes for Chitra to complete it. It was the only ride where Anjali waited. Fair enough. Bipasha began her first ride at 11:30 and so on. So we know that. We know that all 3 visitors incurred the same amount of ticket expense by 12:15 p.m. So by 12:15 p.m. each of them had spent the same amount. That's what we know. We also know the last ride taken by Anjali and Bipasha was the same, where Bipasha waited for 30 minutes for Anjali to complete her ride. Before standing in the queue for that ride, Bipasha took a 1-hour coffee break after completing her previous ride. And this is again the second most important statement of this entire set. Bipasha took a 1-hour coffee break. So unless specified, unless mentioned explicitly, no one takes a break inside the park. So we know that Bipasha is the only one who would have taken a break in between rides, which was not forced in nature, right? So if you reached a particular ride and someone was inside the ride, then you have waited for that person. You haven't taken a break. But Bipasha explicitly has taken a break, a 1-hour coffee break after completing her previous ride. And Bipasha, we know, has taken 3 rides, I believe, right? So that is what is known to us. Now let's look at the questions that we have, and then we can look at the solution of this one. What was the total amount spent on tickets by Bipasha? There are proper numbers here. We know that we are going to get exactly one correct answer to this particular question. Which were the rides that Anjali completed by 2 p.m? Again, these are very specific answers. We do not have cannot be determined. Rides 1 and 2 and 3 might be possible. We don't have those kind of statements here, right? We have proper answers. We know that one of these definitely has to be the answer. Which ride was taken by all 3 visitors? Again, a proper question wherein I know that I am going to get one single answer. How many rides did Anjali and Chitra take in total? I know it's a theta question, one answer. What was the total amount spent by Anjali? One answer. So I know that I am going to get one nice case at the end, which will satisfy all the conditions that have been given to us and which will give us answers to all these questions. So that way it was a very nice set. We know that we are going to get one entire formulation at the end of the day, wherein I know exactly who went where and who went or who waited for how much time and so on. Now if you look at one small bit here, we have been given that someone waited for 30 minutes for the ride to begin, someone took a 1-hour coffee break, Bipasha took a 1-hour coffee break. That has been made known to us. But none of these questions asks us as to how much time was spent idly, what was the amount of time spent by someone inside the amusement park and so on. So we are not really supposed to answer those questions. That's why the waiting times and all those things can be neglected completely. We need not get into those kind of insights. We just have to understand as to which rides was a particular person present on, or which ride was a particular person present on at a particular time, what was the amount paid, and so on. So that was basically what was required. Now let's look at the solution. So one thing we can do, of course, this looks very tedious, but that is the beauty of it. Once you know what the representation looks like, your life becomes much easier. So I thought we'll put it in the form of a Gantt chart, wherein you know that there are certain overlaps that will be there. So if someone enters a particular, or someone starts a ride at 9 a.m. let's say, for example, then 9 to 9:30 and 9:30 to 10. So those two slots will be blocked by that person. And that gives us a lot of insight, a lot of visibility into what the other people would be doing, because they will not be present at that same ride, right? So that is why I decided to put it like this. I have put everything from 9 to 4:30. These are all the start times for half an hour slots. So 9 to 9:30, 9:30 to 10, and so on. So each block represents a half hour slot. So that is what is present here, right? Now if you look at the data that has been given to us, 20 rupees, 50 rupees, 30 rupees, 40 rupees, this is what we have here. We also know that Chitra never waited in the queue and completed her visit by 11 a.m. after spending 50 rupees to pay for the ticket or tickets, we don't know, right? So completed her visit by 11 a.m. That's what we know, and she paid 50 rupees for either one ticket or two tickets depending on the number of rides she would have taken. Anjali took ride 1 at 11 a.m. So that is one bit of information that is properly, that is something that you can properly interpret and place in this entire setup that we have here. So let's look at the first bit, fairly straightforward. We know that ride 3 had to be completed by 1 p.m. right? So there was no one who got into ride 3 at 1 p.m. and that's why I have put X's here in front of all these slots starting from 1 p.m. till 4:30 p.m. and 5 p.m. obviously everything ends. So there is no slot that starts at 5 o'clock, right? So this is basically the area that we have to cover on the basis of the information given to us and the requirements of the people who were a part of this particular park, right? Now the first thing that you have to understand, what is the first thing that you have to understand? You know here that Anjali took ride 1 at 11 a.m. after waiting for 30 minutes for Chitra to complete it. Now that tells us one simple thing. Anjali took ride 1 at 11 a.m. If Anjali has taken ride 1 at 11 a.m., it means that she was inside R1, ride 1 from 11 a.m. to 12 noon, which means 11 to 11:30, 11:30 to 12 is what Anjali has been in ride 1. So that is what we know for sure. What else do we know? We know that Anjali took ride 1 after waiting for 30 minutes for Chitra to complete it. Now she waited for 30 minutes for Chitra to complete it. Chitra would have completed it at 11 a.m. which means that Chitra would have entered this particular ride 1 at 10 a.m. So I know for sure that Chitra has entered ride 1 at 10 a.m. So now we can see that Chitra has occupied ride 1, 10 to 11, 11 to 12 noon will be occupied by Anjali. So that's what we know here. We also know that Chitra never waited in the queue and completed her visit by 11 a.m. after spending 50 rupees to pay for the tickets. How much does ride 1 cost? Ride 1 costs 20 rupees. She is out at 11 o'clock. So after 11 o'clock, there is no mention of Chitra that is going to happen in this entire set, which means that she had to spend 50 rupees across 2 rides. If she has taken ride 1 at 10 a.m., 10 to 11, then she has to take another ride which would have contributed to 30 rupees, which would have been ride 3. So we know for sure that Chitra would have taken ride 3 from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. So that is what has been taken care of. Now we also know that Chitra has spent 50 rupees across these 2 rides. That's what we know here, right? Now if Chitra has spent 50 rupees and Chitra is out of the system by 12:15, we know that all 3 visitors incurred the same amount of ticket expense by 12:15 p.m. and Chitra is out of the system before 12:15 p.m. Chitra has spent 50 rupees, which means that Anjali and Bipasha would have also spent 50 rupees each. That's what we know. We also know that Anjali was in ride 1 from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. Now if Anjali was in ride 1 from 11 a.m. to 12 noon after waiting for half an hour before entering ride 1, we know that Anjali has already spent 20 rupees, which means Anjali will have to spend another 30 rupees to reach that 50 rupees level. Now if Anjali has to spend another 30 rupees, Anjali has to be inside ride 3. Now when will Anjali enter ride 3? And that is very important here, because unless explicitly mentioned, nobody takes a break. We know that Anjali got out of this ride at 12 noon. Anjali would have entered ride 3 at 12 noon and would have finished ride 3 at 1 p.m. after which ride 3 does not work at all. So we know that Anjali has spent 50 rupees in this manner 11 to 12, ride 1, 12 to 1, ride 3. Chitra has spent 50 rupees in this manner, 9 to 10, ride 3, 10 to 11, ride 1. So this is what these people have done. We also know that Bipasha spent 50 rupees before 12:15. We also know that Bipasha began her first of 3 rides. So Bipasha took 3 rides. First of these 3 rides began at 11:30 am. Now because Bipasha started at 11:30 am, Bipasha has to ensure that she is spending 50 rupees in this ride. Because otherwise, if she climbs into some other ride, gets into some other ride which costs less than 50 rupees, she will have to spend another 50 rupees, or she will have to spend another some amount of rupees before 12:15, which is not possible. Because once you enter a ride, you are in that ride for 1 hour. That tells us that Bipasha would have entered the ride that cost 50 rupees. Which ride costs 50 rupees? Ride 2 costs 50 rupees. That tells us that Bipasha would have entered ride 2 at 11:30 am. She was in ride 2 till 12:30, or you can say 12:30 pm, right? So till then Bipasha was in ride 2. Now we know that at 12:15, let's say, so 12 noon to 12:15, that range that was at 12:15, that is when everybody would have spent 50 rupees. So that part is taken care of. So Chitra never waited in the queue, that part is taken care of. Completed her visit by 11 am, perfect, that is done. Anjali took ride 1 at 11 am, we have taken care of that. It was the only ride where Anjali waited, which is fine. So now it might assume some importance later. Bipasha began her first ride, we have taken care of. Incurred the same amount of ticket expense, has been taken care of. The last ride taken by Anjali and Bipasha was the same, where Bipasha waited 30 minutes for Anjali to complete her ride. Now that is what is important. Now Bipasha has to take some ride that has been taken by Anjali. Now Bipasha takes the ride after waiting for 30 minutes for Anjali to complete her ride. So as soon as Anjali comes out of that particular ride, Bipasha enters that particular ride. Now which ride can that be? Or in other words, which rides could Bipasha have taken? There are 2 ways to ask this question. Now Bipasha cannot take ride 3 at all, because by the time Anjali comes out of ride 3 would have stopped operating, because 1 PM is when ride 3 stops operating. So I know for sure that Bipasha would have taken rides 1, 2 and 4. Now out of these 3 rides, there has to be one ride wherein Bipasha would have waited 30 minutes for Anjali to come out, and as soon as Anjali comes out, Bipasha would have entered that ride. Now which ride can that be? Can that ride be ride 1? It can't be ride 1, because Anjali has completed ride 1 at 12 noon. If Anjali has completed ride 1 at 12 noon, Bipasha should have entered ride 1 at 12 noon. But Bipasha can't do that because Bipasha is already in ride 2. Ride 2 cannot be the answer to my question, because Bipasha has entered ride 2 at 11:30. But at 11:30, if you look at it, Anjali was in ride 1. So that is again not possible. Ride 3, Bipasha could not have taken. That leaves us with only one possibility, that Bipasha would have entered after Anjali entered ride 4. And that is basically what will help us crack this particular set. Right? So Bipasha will enter ride 4 after Anjali would have completed ride 4. Bipasha would have obviously spent some time before ride 4 having this coffee break, and would have waited 30 minutes for Anjali to come out. So 1.5 hours or 3 blocks worth of gap would be there between Bipasha's second ride and third ride. So that is what we know here. Right? Also we know that Anjali would not have taken any breaks, because Anjali did not have to wait for any other ride except for the first one. Right? For ride 1, she had to wait for Chitra to come out. Otherwise, Anjali has not waited at all. That is what we know. So on the basis of this information, we know that Anjali should be doing something now. Anjali should be going to either ride 2 or ride 4, because Anjali has not taken any break. And that's why we know that at 1 PM, right? At 1 PM, Anjali will either be getting into ride 2 or Anjali will be getting into ride 4. So either here or here, Anjali will be there. That is one thing that we know for sure. Right? So this is what we know. We also know that the same ride would have been the last ride that would have been taken by Bipasha. Right? Now in this particular context, if you look at the next ride taken by Anjali, if the next ride taken by Anjali is ride 4, let's say for example, then what will happen? If the next ride taken by Anjali is ride 4, then as soon as Anjali comes out, Bipasha will have to take ride 4. But before that, Bipasha has to undertake ride 1 as well. And after Bipasha takes ride 1, after that she has 1.5 hour break, and then she will go for ride 4. So that is the context. So Bipasha can't do all those things if Anjali takes ride 4 at 1 PM. That is why we know that, because Bipasha's third ride is ride 4, Bipasha would have directly gone from ride 2 to ride 1. That is what we know, right? Bipasha would have gone from ride 2 to ride 1. That is one bit we can say with certainty. Now, after Bipasha has gone for her second ride or has gone to ride 1, then what will happen? Bipasha has to take a 1 hour coffee break and then she has to wait for 30 more minutes for Anjali to come out before she jumps onto ride 4. How is that possible? Bipasha will have to wait for 3 gaps. As I mentioned earlier, each block is 30 minutes. Bipasha has to wait for 30 minutes before which she begins her last ride. And that's why Bipasha enters the last ride at 3 p.m. If you are getting confused with these blocks, you can also think about it in another manner. Bipasha enters ride 1 at 12:30 p.m. She comes out at 1:30 p.m. 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. she takes a coffee break. Then she goes and waits in front of ride 4 at 2:30. 3 o'clock Anjali comes out. 3 o'clock Bipasha enters. We also know that Bipasha would have entered after Anjali came out. So Anjali would have been in ride 4 from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. We also know that Anjali took one more ride in between ride 3 and ride 4. So we know for sure that Anjali would have taken ride 2 between 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And now we have the entire thing in front of us. We know that Anjali has taken consecutive rides. She does not have any break. Chitra has taken consecutive rides, does not have any break. Bipasha has one break of 1 hour and 30 minutes waiting time for ride 4 to begin. And that is basically this set. So if you would have taken care of just that one condition, I think you would have cracked this set easily. And people who have taken or who would have solved past year CAT papers, you would know that a lot of these sets are based on that one statement. And this was one classic example of that particular phenomenon. Now, once we have this data, the questions are fairly straightforward. We can manage the questions very easily. So let's look at the first one. What was the total amount spent on tickets by Bipasha? So we know that Bipasha did not go for ride 3. Bipasha went for rides 1, 2 and 4. So if you look at the data that we had here, rides 1, 2 and 4, what was the cost of rides 1, 2 and 4? It was 20 rupees, then 50 rupees and then 40 rupees. So 20 plus 50 is 70, 70 plus 40 is 110. The correct answer to this question is going to be option 3, that is 110 rupees. In this question, we are asked what all were the rides that Anjali completed by 2 p.m. Now, if you look at the table that we have here, that we have drawn, Anjali took ride 1 from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. Anjali took ride 3 from 12 noon to 1 p.m. and then Anjali took ride 2 from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. So we know that rides 1, 2 and 3 were all completed by Anjali by 2 p.m. So the correct answer here is option 3, ride 1, ride 2 and ride 3. In this question, we have to figure out which ride was taken by all 3 visitors. Now, if you look at the table that we have here, ride 1 was taken by C, A and B, all 3 of them. Ride 2 by only B and A, ride 3 by C and A, and ride 4 by A and B. So we know that only ride 1 was taken by all the 3 visitors. So the correct answer here is option 4, that is ride 1. In this question, we have to find out how many rides did Anjali and Chitra take in total. Now in this case, we know that Chitra has taken exactly 2 rides, ride 3 and ride 1. We also know that Anjali has taken ride 1, ride 3, ride 2 and ride 4. So in total, cumulatively, these people would have taken 6 rides. So the correct answer here is 6. In this question, we have to figure out the total amount spent on tickets by Anjali. Now if you look at what Anjali has done, Anjali has attended all the rides. She has been on ride 1, 2, 3 and 4. And that's why she would have spent a cumulative of 20 plus 30 plus 40 plus 50. That is 140 rupees. So the correct answer here is 140. In this set, there are 3 participants, Akhil, Bimal and Chatur. And they participate in a random draw competition for 5 days. They randomly pick a ball numbered between 1 and 9. The number determines the score of that person on that day. Total score is the sum of the scores attained in 5 days, and total score of a day is the sum of the participants' score on that particular day. So that is what it looks like. 2-day average on a day except on day 1 is the average of the total scores of that day and of the previous day. So again, it has been explained. So if someone tells you that day 2 average is 15, it means that day 1 plus day 2, the average of that will be 15. Or in other words, day 1 plus day 2 will be 30. Similarly, day 2 plus day 3 will be 15.5 into 2 or 31 and so on. Participants are ranked on each day, and we also know the ranks of the participants. So Akhil, Bimal, Chatur, we know the ranks of each of these people for these 5 days. So that has been given to us. Now we also know that there is this concept of ties that is there. So for example, on a day, Akhil, Bimal and Chatur score 8, 7, 7 respectively. then the first person, the person who scored an 8, will get rank 1, but the two people who are tied for the second position will be ranked 2 each. So that way it is pretty fair. Now we'll also look at some data points that have been given to us. So there are 3 additional bits of information that have been given to us. Chatur always scores in multiples of 3. Day 2 is the unique highest, then minimum score, matches Akhil's score on day 4. Total score on day 3 is the same as the total score on day 4, and Bimal's scores are the same on day 1 and day 3. So fair enough. If you look at the questions that we have, what is Akhil's score on day 1? Straightforward question, one answer. We know that there are no cases as such for this question. Who attains the maximum total score? There is one option which says CBD, but we have been given all 3 names as well. So unless there are multiple cases with varying numbers, we should get an answer to this question as well. What is the minimum possible total score of Bimal? Now we are talking about possibilities, which means that Bimal has a lot of different scores possible, out of which we have to find the minimum value. If the total score of Bimal is a multiple of 3, now that answers my previous question as well. Bimal will have multiple possibilities that exist, out of which one possibility is where Bimal will score something which is a multiple of 3. And then finally, if Akhil attains a total score of 24, then what is the total score of Bimal? So again, in this case, if Akhil gets 24, what will Bimal would have scored? So again, more or less, we understand what the context is. We have to figure out what people scored on each day. I am sure there will be some variances that will be there because the questions ask us about minimum possible if then kind of situations. So I know we might have to put in slightly more effort than usual to get to that 2 or 3 table format, but then again does not look to be a very complicated set as such. So let's look at this. Now we know that the 2-day averages for days 2 through 5 that have been given to us. So day 2, as I mentioned, day 1 plus day 2 will be 30, 15 into 2. Day 3, the average of day 2 plus day 3 is 15.5, meaning the total will be 15.5 into 2, that is 31. The averages of days 3 and 4 is 16, so total will be 32. Averages of days 4 and 5 is 17, which means that day 4 plus day 5 will be 34. So that is what we know here. We know the ranks of the participants. One very nice bit of information lies hidden here, wherein Akhil and Bimal have got the same rank, which tells us that they would have scored or they would have picked the same numbered ball. So that is what is important to us. Let's look at the additional information also that we have and try to represent it in a slightly better format so that we are able to write things in a neater manner. Now in this case, we know that Chatur always scores in multiples of 3. So Chatur would be scoring either 3 or 6 or 9, considering 0 is not there. His score on day 2 is the unique highest score in the competition. Now unique highest score. Now Chatur would have scored 3 or 6 or 9. Now if you look at what has happened here, if Chatur's score is 3 and that is the unique highest score in the competition, then it's a problem, right? Because the numbers that we have here are 15, 15.5, 16 and 17. So we know that all 3 of them put together in one day, on an average, if you look at the numbers, are around 15. Now if 3 is the highest number, can you reach a number of 15 on a particular day? Right? That will not be possible. And that is why we can safely say that 3 cannot be the unique highest value in the competition. We also know that his minimum score is observed only on day 1 and it matches Akhil's score on day 4. So again, that is one thing that is known to us. So the maximum score that is there can either be 6 or 9. Now let's say, for example, Chatur's maximum score is 6 on a particular day. If Chatur's maximum score is 6 and that is the unique highest score in the competition, right? If 6 is the unique highest score in the competition and nobody else has scored a 6, it means that somebody would have scored a 5. So on the days when Chatur is not ranked first, someone else can at max be ranked or might have picked up at max the number 5 that is there. Now if someone picks at max number 5 and we have ranks 2 and 3, 5 plus 4 plus 3 again leads us to 12. But if you look at the numbers here, every day we believe that we will be more than 50. Right? So again, at this point in time, let's not comment on what Chatur would have done, but we know with some amount of certainty that the unique maximum score in this particular event is going to be 9, which will be by Chatur, and the minimum score by Chatur on some day should be 3, should not be 6. So that is one indication that we have. Let's not write anything and commit to that thought, but let's just keep that in mind. We also know that the total score on day 3 is the same as the total score on day 4, and that is what helps us understand where Chatur should be. So in this particular context, the total score on day 3 is the same as the total score on day 4. But day 3 plus day 4, the average is 16 or the total is 32. If day 3 plus day 4 is 32, but both of them are equal in terms of the scores, then can we say that day 3 the total would be 16, day 4 the total will be 16. Now if day 4 the total is 16 and day 5 the average of day 4 and day 5 is 17, day 4 plus day 5 should have been 34. Now if this is 16, this becomes 18. Similarly, if you look at day 3, the average was 15.5. So total of day 2 and day 3 would have been 31. If this is 16, this becomes 15. Similarly, day 2 the average was 15. So day 1 plus day 2 would be 30. If this is 15, the remaining part becomes 15 again. And that is what will tell you as to what exactly is about to come. You also know that in this particular context, day 3, so Chatur always scores in multiples of 3. His score on day 2 is the unique highest score in the competition. His minimum score is only observed on day 1 and it matches Akhil's score on day 4. Now his score on day 2 is the unique highest score in the competition. So Chatur would have either scored a 9 or a 6 here from what we were discussing earlier. And again, as we mentioned, if Chatur would have scored a 6 here, then that basically tells us that the next highest score would be 5. So on the days when Chatur does not top or does not have the largest number as his pick, the maximum number that could happen will be 5 plus 4 plus 3 or 12. But all the numbers here are 15, 15, 16, 16 and 18. So the unique highest number has to be 9 for Chatur, right? So even with a bit of logic you can figure it out, but even otherwise you should be able to manage it, right? So I know that the unique highest number for Chatur on day 2 is 9. We also know that his score on his minimum score is observed only on day 1, right? Only on day 1. Maximum is observed only on day 2. Minimum is observed only on day 1, which means that day 1 has to be equal to 3. Then the remaining can be equal to 6. So Chatur would have scored 3, 9, 6, 6, 6 across these 5 days. We also know that the lowest score that Chatur has got on day 1 will match Akhil's score on day 4. So Chatur's score on day 1 is the same as Akhil's score on day 4. We also know that the total of day 4 is 3 plus 6 plus something, that is 16. So that something automatically becomes 7. And that 7 would have been scored by Bimal. We also know that on day 3, this bit of information that I mentioned, that Akhil and Bimal are ranked the same, which means that they will have picked the same number. On day 3, if you look at it, 16 is the total and Chatur has picked 6. The remaining two would have picked the same number, which adds to 10, which basically means that both of them would have picked 5. We also know that Bimal's scores are the same on day 1 and day 3. So day 3, if Bimal is scoring 5, day 1 Bimal would have scored a 5 again. The total of day 1 is 15, 5 plus 3 is 8, which means that Akhil would have scored a 7 on day 1. So this is what we have here. Again, in the remaining boxes, we have to fit the data. What else can we do? We have used all the data points that we had. So the other numbers we know will be variable, and that is what will lead us to those possibilities that are present in the questions. Now let's see what happens on day 2. Now on day 2, we know that Akhil has scored more than Bimal. That is what we know. 9 has already been accounted for out of 15. So 6 remains, out of which Akhil would have outscored Bimal. So Akhil could have either got a 5 and Bimal would have got a 1, or Akhil would have got a 4 and Bimal would have got a 2. Any other combination is not possible. Similarly, for day 5, 6 has already been accounted for, and we know that Chatur is ranked 2. So someone would have scored more than 6, someone would have scored less than 6, and the total of those two numbers has to be 12. If this person has scored more than 6, so 7 could be a possibility, in which case the total needs to be 18. So 7 plus 6 plus 5 will give us 18. The other number is 8. 8 plus 6, 14, and then this one, A would have scored 4. So Akhil would have scored 4 in that context. So these two cases are possible. Can Bimal score a 9 on day 5? Not really. Why? Because we know that his score on day 2, Chatur's score on day 2 is the unique means only one, unique highest score in the competition. So now we have a fair idea of what these scores look like. We can also add all the numbers because we were expected to find out who would have won the competition. So let's try to figure out what the totals are or what the ranges of these totals are. So 7, best case 5, 7 plus 5, 12, 12 plus 5, 17, 17 plus 3, 20, 20 plus 5, best case. So best case is 25. Worst case, 1 less, so 2 less, which is 23. So Akhil could have scored either 23 or 24, or 25. That is what Akhil's scores could have been. Bimal, 5. Best case, 2. 5 plus 2, 7. 7 plus 5, 12. 12 plus 7, 19. 19 plus 8, best case, 27. Worst case, 1 less, 1 less. I know that Bimal, worst case, would have scored 25. So Bimal's scores could be 25, 26 or 27. Chatur, we know everything. 3 plus 9, 12. 12 plus 6, 18, plus 6, 24, plus 6, 30. So Chatur would have scored 30. So we know for sure that whatever happens, Chatur would have definitely outscored Bimal and Akhil. So even on their best days, Chatur would have outscored Bimal and Akhil. If you add all these numbers, you will get an 80 as well, which does not matter. But we know that the total marks or the total scores that have been present in this competition would add up to 80. So that's what we know. Now let's look at the consolidated table once again, and then we can start solving the questions. Here you have to find what is Akhil's score on day 1. Now if you look at the table that we have drawn, Akhil has scored 7 on day 1, and that's why the correct answer here is going to be option 1, that is 7. In this question, we have to find who attains the maximum total score. We know as a matter of fact that irrespective of whatever Akhil and Bimal would have done, Chatur would have scored 30 marks in total, and that would have been much greater than what Akhil and Bimal would have scored, and that's why definitely we know that the correct answer here is option 3, that is Chatur. Here we are supposed to find the minimum possible total score of Bimal. Now from the table that we had drawn, we knew that Bimal's score would lie between 25 to 27. So 25, 26 or 27 were all possible, and that is why we can say that the minimum possible score of Bimal will be 25, and hence the correct answer is 25. If the total score of Bimal is a multiple of 3, then what is the score of Akhil on day 2? Now if the total score of Bimal is a multiple of 3, it basically means that Bimal would have scored 27 points in total. Now if Bimal has scored 27 and the total is 80 and this is 30, it means that Akhil will have to score 23 in total. Now if Akhil has scored 23, it means that Akhil has scored less on these days wherever there was an ambiguity that was present. So Akhil on day 2 would have scored 4 and not 5, and that is why the correct answer here is option 2, that is 4. If Akhil attains a total score of 24, then what is the total score of Bimal? Again, we know here that the total is 80, out of which 30 is contributed by Chatur. So the remaining two have to cumulatively contribute 50. If Akhil attains a score of 24, then the total score of Bimal has to be equal to 26. So the correct answer here is 26.